shoot on.
Hi and welcome to Message Netflix. In this video I have listed top 10 best Marvel superhero shows which you must watch. Also tell me your favorite superhero in comments, and how many shows you have watched from this list. Now let's get into the video. On number 10, Marvel's Luke Cage.
You might be bulletproof, but Harlem ain't.
This action-packed drama follows the evolution of Luke, a man with super strength and unbreakable skin caused by a sabotaged experiment. After a failed relationship with fellow superhero Jessica Jones, Cage tries to rebuild a quiet life in Harlem, New York City, until he is pulled out of the shadows and forced into a battle for his city. On number 9, Marvel's Runaways.
What kind of charity meeting is this?
The story follows a group of 6 teenagers who discovers that their parents are secret members of a supervillain group known as the Pride. After deciding they are no longer safe in their own homes, the kids go on the run in order to find the motive of their parents and stop them from executing a terrible plan. On number 8, Cloak and Dagger. The story follows Tandy Bowen and Tyrone Johnson, 2 teenagers from very different backgrounds who find themselves burdened with awakened to newly acquired superpowers which are mysteriously linked to one another. But problems arise when they get into trouble with the drug cartel, and things get even more complicated when they start falling for each other. On number 7, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Superheroes cannot be allowed to exist.
The story follows the events after Avengers Endgame, where Sam Wilson is struggling to take up the mantle of Captain America. Along for the ride is Bucky, who is going through his own issues from his past life as the brainwashed assassin known as the Winter Soldier. Together the two team up for a global adventure to stop a radicalized group of super soldiers known as the Flag Smashers, who were creating super soldiers to destroy U.S. government. On number 6, Jessica Jones.
But his ability was to make people do whatever he wanted.
The story follows the life of one of the darker Marvel characters, the mysterious Jessica Jones. When a tragedy puts an end to her short-lived career as a superhero, Jessica settles in New York City and opens her own detective agency called Alias Investigations, which seems to be called into cases involving people who have special abilities. Suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, Jessica wants to do good, but her primary interest isn't in saving the world. On number 5, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's Superhero Agent Ward. We worked the cases S.H.I.E.L.D. hasn't classified. The strange, the unknown.
This series begins after the events of New York Battle in Avengers. Agent Phil Coulson returns to the worldwide law enforcement organization S.H.I.E.L.D. and he puts together a small, highly trained team of agents to tackle the new threats. The goal of the team is to find and deal with these threats wherever they are found, with the world rapidly becoming more bizarre and dangerous than ever before. As the supervillains arise, these agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are ready to take them on. On number 4, WandaVision.
Am I dead?
No. Why would you think that?
The story follows after the events of Endgame, where Wanda is tormented by grief at the death of her husband and creates a fantasy by trapping all the people of town with her magic spell, in which they had a happy life together and raised children in the kind of place she dreamed of living as a child. But like most lies, it was destined to fall apart because it was fiction and her grief was real. Now, to release the people of Westview from the spell, she has to give up her fantasy family and accept her responsibility for the damage she'd done and her realization to the reality of her loss. And this show is very different than usual superhero shows. And you should definitely watch this. On number 3, The Punisher. The story follows Marine veteran Frank Castle after the murder of his family, Frank Castle becomes the vigilante known as the Punisher with only one goal in mind: to avenge them. After exacting revenge on the people responsible for the death of his wife and children, Frank Castle uncovers a conspiracy that runs deeper than New York's criminal underworld. Now known as the Punisher, he must dig deep into the conspiracy to discover the truth about injustices that affect more than just him and his family. On number 2, Loki.
Protect the proper flow of time.
You picked up the Tesseract, breaking reality.
Loki is the god of mischief, and this show takes place after the events of Avengers Endgame. After stealing the Tesseract in Endgame, an alternate version of Loki is brought to the mysterious Time Variance Authority TVA, a bureaucratic organization that exists outside of time and space and monitors all the timelines. They give Loki a choice of face being erased from existence due to being a time variant, or help them to fix the timeline and stop a greater threat. Loki ends up trapped in his own crime thriller traveling through time. Also, Loki is a record-breaking Marvel series of 2021. Our number 1, Daredevil.
You're blind, but you see so much.
I hear things.
You know what they call stuff like that? Gifts.
The story follows a blind lawyer, Matt Murdock. As a child, Matt Murdock was blinded by a chemical spill accident. Instead of limiting him, it gave him superhuman hearing senses that enabled him to see the world in a unique and powerful way. Now he uses these powers to deliver justice, not only as a lawyer, but also as vigilante at night, stalking the streets of Hell's Kitchen, as Daredevil, the man without fear. And this is the best Marvel series of all time, also one of the highest rated show on IMDb. That's it for today. Do subscribe my channel if you like the suggestions. And thank you for watching this video.